Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Goblin Views. I am your titular goblin, and today I'm accompanied by the lovely Akasha, and we are gonna review Nightmare Alley by Guillermo del Toro. Don't make a stinky face.
Yeah.
Why are you making a stinky face?
Yeah, we gonna review the movie.
Okay. I what was that? Um,
I just like looking at my own face on the camera.
do you?
Yeah.
I don't like doing it. Not about your face, about my
No,
own
no,
face.
I just like making funny faces at it.
Oh, okay.
I show my feet in front.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna get yourself put on r/rate my feet. But yeah, we're here to talk about Nightmare Alley. Made by Guillermo del Toro. If you don't know who he is, I don't know where you've been. He's a really fucking prolific director at this point. He's made such hits as Hellboy 1 and 2. Not the new one, not the 2018 one, the original ones. So actually,
Pan's Labyrinth.
yeah, Pan's Labyrinth. Shape of Water, which won obviously Best Picture at the Oscars in 2019, I think. But yeah, it's his latest endeavor. We got Bradley Cooper as our main starring man. Co-joined by fucking like some of the most
Prolific actors.
like of our age, Willem Dafoe, Toni
Kate
Collette.
Blanchett.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett, Toni Collette. Ron Perlman is in like every fucking Guillermo del Toro movie, and I appreciate it because I just like seeing that son of a bitch.
Rooney Mara.
Rooney Mara, yeah. But let's hop right into our non-spoiler section. What did you think about Nightmare Alley, Akasha?
I thought it was pretty good. And we had very long conversations after the movie about how we felt about it, and we'll go more into that. But we have a few problems. I feel, though, on the whole, that this is what I expect out of a Guillermo del Toro movie, and I'm happy that he tried to do something different because as the guy at the movie theater giving us our snacks said, this is the first Guillermo del Toro movie where it's not about a monster or like has a monster in it.
Or does it?
Or does it?
Or does it?
Or does it, guys?
No, but I think it's just to give a little plot synopsis before of the non-spoiler stuff. It's about Bradley Cooper. He's a kind of a drifter who ends up at a circus. I don't even think do they even say what the name of the circus is? They probably do.
Not that I remember.
Not that I remember, but he ends up at a circus that's run by like Ron Perlman and Willem Dafoe and all this bullshit.
Seems Willem Dafoe most prominent.
Yeah, but it's just the wacky shit about who he is and it's hard to talk about this movie without going into spoilers because it's just so.
I know that two different movie thing you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess I think that this movie, if you're going for fucking like a good what?
I was trying so hard to hold a burp.
Well, now you've drawn attention to it, so everybody's gonna make fun of you now.
Cause I'm drinking a Pepsi.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have drank a Pepsi. Literally, Pepsi makes me burp every fucking time I sip a Pepsi.
Anyhow, Nightmare Alley.
If you're going for watching just like really good acting, this is you're getting like the best. Like we said, like the best act. Like not like the new age actors, but like all of like really good. Not that they're like really old, but older actors and stuff. They're all middle aged and stuff.
Yeah.
But
and it's a really lovely looking movie.
Yes, it's shot very, very well. I mean, I never really thought that was going to be an issue with a Guillermo del Toro movie though, because he's been making, I mean, even Shape of Water. It's got like not a super basic plot or anything, but it's like more basic than a lot of his other stuff. Like it's a lot more simple than this plot was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's also drawn out for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'd say my biggest complaint with this film is the fact that it's 2.5 hours long. I think it's also I mean, without getting into spoilers, it kind of at a later point feels like two separate movies, um, which kind of sucks. And we'll explain more when we get into like the actual story bit of it. But the length and the fact that it feels like it's two separate stories being told to us at the same time, I think that's like my biggest gripe with this movie. And as we get like further along, it'll be more obvious why I feel that way. But do you have anything else about the non-spoiler stuff?
I also just want to put out there, because this is going to come into what we talk about more later, but this movie is based off of a story.
Well, I don't think it matters so much for us because we haven't watched the stuff that it's based on.
No, what I say about it, though, is relevant.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's based off of a movie that came out in 1947, which was based off a book that came out in 1946. And I feel like a lot of the elements in this movie have to like revolve around how you would tell a story in the 1940s. And I feel like it can be a little jarring to modern audiences. So we're gonna kind of talk about how like on one hand it's a very unique good thing, but also maybe not
the best thing when you're writing for an audience in 2022.
Yeah.
I think I have a lot more complaints about that than you do, though, because it seems like I don't have a problem with that as long as it's, I don't know, I don't think it works as well in this movie just because of how much is, I feel like one of the problems of it being like two movies is it's tackling so much at one time that it's like, it kind of drops some points at some parts and stuff, and I feel like that's how it kind of sacrifices the storytelling.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But I think we should just get right into spoiler stuff.
Yeah.
So our story starts, and we're gonna be just so everybody knows, these reviews where we do movies that like come out more recently, like where we have to go to the movie theaters. Obviously, we can't fucking. I mean, I could bring a notebook, but I don't really fucking care to, because I just want to enjoy the movie and my time at a movie theater. But we won't be able to like absolutely tell you everything that happens in the plot because we're just gonna forget. It's what happens. We've only seen the movie once, but we will try our best. So we start off with.
I want to pause it one more thing before we go into spoilers.
You son of a bitch.
I'm sorry. So for movies, like random movies, we're trying out where we just do Minecraft because it's like a catch-all game. So if anybody has any comments about like if they really like that idea or if they'd like to see something else, go ahead and make your opinion.
Yeah, because we couldn't think of a fucking game to theme Nightmare Alley off of. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what we're gonna be doing is I'm just gonna be making a fucking circus tent in Minecraft, just because the movie's based in a circus.
Yeah, we decided we're gonna try to make things that have to do with the movie while we review that.
Yeah, maybe we should have prefaced that earlier. But...
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the non-spoiler stuff. Can we?
Yep.
Okay. We start the movie off with Bradley Cooper burning a dead body. In a house, and that's basically all it is, right? And we get a really good shot where he's walking away, a really fucking great landscape shot where it's like the whole, I don't know, I don't think it was fake, but for some reason it looked a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, usually he does prefer using practical effects, so I was a little confused on what was practical and what was not, because most directors just prefer to go with CGI. So I was just, I wasn't sure sometimes.
Yeah. And that's not a fault on him. I think it's just because we have so many movies that...
The movie looks stunning, and I know that some of why it looks so good was because a lot of it's practical.
Well, I'm guessing, and the thing about this movie is it's not all, like we said, it's not all big monsters on the screen. Like with Shape of Water, it's like... I'm going to just compare this, or not compare it to Shape of Water, but just keep bringing up Shape of Water because it's the most recent one that I have seen. It's like with Shape of Water, when the fucking fish guy is on screen, it's like, yeah, most of the time it's, I think like Doug Jones or whatever in a fucking suit. But like a lot of the times it just has to be a fucking CGI fish monster.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But with this, it's just, hello, Rose. How are you? Welcome to the stream. We're just talking about Nightmare Alley, the new Guillermo del Toro film.
Yes.
But yeah, okay, so we start with him burying a dead body and burning the building that he stores it in, and then walking away. And then we get a montage where basically he just is walking. He just walks around for a while.
He just walks?
I guess he just does whatever.
He wanders.
Yeah, until he finally finds our circus.
The circus.
Which is run by seemingly Ron Perlman, because he's the one who hires him, right?
Well, he hires him to do a random job. I think Willem Dafoe's actually in charge.
It's okay.
Because he's the one who gives everyone payroll.
Not that it's like a huge deal, but I felt like that was really confusing in the movie, who was actually in charge of the circus.
No, I was pretty sure it was Willem Dafoe.
Okay, well, I don't know. Usually when it's like some guy's hiring me, I think that's the boss.
No,
you know
but
what I
that's
mean?
one of the 1940s things where I think you're a little confused, just because in the 1940s, if like someone is working a crew,
no one gives a shit.
Which seems like what Ron Perlman was doing, and he's like, hey, there's rain, I need a couple more people on my crew, can you please help? I'll pay you $1.
Fair enough. Okay. You're traveling, Rose? Well, I hope that you get some rest. But basically, he joins the circus, and there's not a whole lot to talk about with the actual. It's a cool circus. It's like is it a correct term to use the term freak show? Because that's kind of what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, like in the 1940s, that's how they would refer to it.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be like a sideshow freak attraction where you've got like the Snake Man, so it's like a guy who can contort his body and stuff like that. Or you've got I don't know. You've got the Spider Woman, who it's like, it's just this woman who puts her fucking head through like a spider facade thing or whatever, and they claim she's a Spider Woman. What were some other attractions? There's obviously the Geek, who's very important. Rory says, Akasha, are you dipping? What do you mean dipping?
What the hell do you mean?
What the fuck does dipping mean?
What?
And can you take it over? I can't think of what else is there important about the circus.
It's kind of there's the fortune teller, or like psychic.
Toni Collette, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because instead of like doing like a whole encompassing shot showing.
It looks like you're chewing and spitting tobacco in that can because you're holding it. I don't know why you're holding it.
Because I want to drink my fucking Pepsi.
It's literally empty.
No, it's not.
Oh, I thought you just finished it 5 minutes ago.
No. No, there's like half a can of Pepsi in here. Yep. But no, the interesting thing about this, now that you bring this up, is that they do show a bunch of attractions, but it's not like a circus movie where they want to show everything.
Yeah,
it's more focused on the characters.
Yeah, I don't think the circus aspect, which is really weird because you think it would matter more, but I don't think the circus aspect of it really matters. It just matters that they all are outcasts.
Yeah. There's a strong man, which is Ron Perlman.
Yeah, Ron Perlman is a strong man. I forgot that he's like actually a person who works, like is an attraction, not just someone who works there. Because it's only one scene that it happens in or whatever. But yeah, Bradley Cooper has got some secrets, and he meets Toni Collette, who has a husband named Pete, who's very important in the sense that Pete's gonna once upon a time worked with the circus as like a psychic, right? Is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
Well, because he just reads minds, right?
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. So he meets Pete, who is the husband of Toni Collette, which her name is Xena. What the fuck is Bradley Cooper's name in that movie?
Stan.
Yeah,
Stanton.
Stanton. Yeah, good old Stan.
So Greatest Showman, but good, said
Right. It's really different than I think. I mean, I haven't seen The Greatest Showman, but what it's just confusing where to like start with the plot, I guess.
I would say the important first thing to start with is just that he meets Pete and Xena, which is the important part. Where Stan, the main character, who's Bradley Cooper, he like wants to learn a trade, and
yeah, he doesn't think he's good at anything.
Yeah, and so he eventually, after hanging out with them a little bit, he wants Pete to teach him the tricks you do to fool people into thinking you're a psychic and like trying to like read things off of people by certain body language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also important to note that at this point they've like established that Bradley Cooper has some. I think we should just kind of talk about the plot because we're already in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about the beginning of the movie. The beginning of the movie is Bradley Cooper fucking burying his dead dad, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we didn't establish that it's his dad though.
Oh, okay. You just want to give it away.
Yeah, I just want to give it away that it's his dad. All right.
I'm like, wait, we did.
No. But I want to just establish that the beginning of the movie, it's his dead dad that he's burying in the house and burning, and it's kind of obvious. I don't know. For me as the audience, it like the second they bring up that he has dad issues, it's like, oh, it was his dead dad at the beginning or whatever. But they established like Pete does his tricks on Bradley Cooper to figure out like, oh, he has dad issues or whatever, and that's obviously going to be a staple throughout the entirety of the movie. Is that Bradley Cooper really does not like his dad. But yeah, you want to take it from there then?
Yeah. It's hard because a lot of this stuff in the beginning kind of feels like it doesn't matter now that I'm thinking
and that's the big problem with the movie, is that it feels like two completely separate movies, and the first half of it does not feel important to the rest of it.
Yeah.
It really does not.
The important part that the audience needs to know is that basically Stan falls in love with Rooney Mara's character.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about Rooney Mara's character though. She is like, she harnesses electricity.
Yeah, she does electric tricks.
She doesn't, obviously, or whatever. Like she kind of does, but not really at the same time.
Yeah.
He meets her. They fall in love. They make a promise that they're gonna leave the circus together. Basically, what's important is that not Stan. What's the name? Pete, the husband of Toni Collette's character, is an alcoholic. And but the thing, here is the problem. Is it? No, stop.
I'm joking.
The problem with the first half is that it doesn't feel important, but it sets up how the end of the movie works. So it feels like I shouldn't mention things, but I should because
they randomly reinsert themselves.
Yeah, like we are so all over the place with this review. I'm sorry, everybody.
That's okay. We want to read the chat real quick and take a little break.
Yeah. It's literally they're not talking about anything that's helping. They're not talking about. They're not doing it. They're not talking about anything that's going to be helpful right now.
Well, didn't somebody ask what you're building?
Circus tent, I
think.
Circus
tent,
yeah. Oh my god, I'm kind of embarrassed with how bad this is going already.
No, let's pick it back up. I got this. Okay. So, basically, what happens, Pete's character is an alcoholic. He, accidentally does not get alcohol, because Stan's character.
Okay, so yeah, he's everybody in the circus knows he's an alcoholic, right? And they don't want to give him alcohol because Tony Collette has gone around and been like, hey, he's gonna fucking kill himself if he keeps drinking, so can you not give him alcohol?
Mm-hmm.
So Stan is the only one left that he can like plead with to be like, hey, you're like a good kid, can you just go get me some alcohol or whatever? So earlier in the movie, it's established that they have two types of alcohols, which is important because one's wood alcohol and one's regular alcohol. And
one's like a preservation alcohol.
Yeah. Stan obviously gives Pete the wood alcohol, killing him, and this is what enacts that Stan can now steal his. Pete has like a little book of all his tricks, so now he can finally steal his little book, full with the little tricks and stuff. And basically, what he's gonna do is he's gonna leave with Rooney Mara, and he's gonna start like his own
psychic act.
Yeah, his own worldwide psychic act where he's like a medium. I mean, he doesn't go out to be a medium, but he quickly becomes a medium or whatever.
Yeah, originally he's just like the act is like, reading minds or like knowing certain things about people, but the people in the movie keep warning him. They specifically say like, don't do a spook show, which is doing like a medium show.
Giving people hope that like, your dead son is standing right here and he tells you that he loves you or something like that. That's what they keep referring to as the spook show.
And they keep saying like, if you do certain things like that, you're kind of crossing a line where you actually you are in over your head because you begin to believe that like, you can read minds, you can call the dead, and you just get like egotistic. So that's the setup for this movie.
Yeah, so here's where the problems start. We just described an hour and 15 minutes of the movie in about 20 minutes because we thought it was like, it's so unimportant. The only thing that we need to mention that's important is there's a thing called the Geek, which the Geek is the main attraction of the show, which basically they describe it as he's like their man or beast attraction, which is the tagline of the movie, man or beast or whatever.
That's
right?
What Willem Dafoe says in the trailer.
Yeah, so
man or beast.
Yeah, and the reason we're not mentioning Willem Dafoe in this in this review as much is because it's like he's really good, but he's like so unimportant to the fucking plot.
I know, it's so sad.
Other than he like tells us what the Geek is, because the Geek will actually be important later.
Yeah, he is so good in this film, though. Like I said, everyone is so good.
Yeah, but so the Geek is basically a homeless person that the circus will find off the streets, or the homeless person will come to them, and the circus will give them a job, and the job will basically be that they will give them shots, for them, doing like man or beast actions, being their geek or whatever. But the trick is that they lace the alcohol with opium so that
they get more addicted.
Yeah, so that they get more addicted, so that they become more feral, so that they can take their man or beast act like to the extremes, where it's like at the beginning of the movie when we meet the Geek, he's like so fucking strung out that to like survive, he'll fucking eat or suck the blood out of a chicken. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah. And I want to say on that point, because
this story sounds fucked. Yeah. It is very fucked, but it's a very good story, though.
You said a point earlier, Rose, about The Greatest Showman and how they say like P.T. Barnum is so great and everything. This shows that like a circus back then is really manipulative and fucked up.
Yeah.
Which is like much more realistic than The Greatest Showman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the Geek's really important for the end of the movie, basically.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it anymore.
The thing is, it's like there's really good scenes in between, but it's just like I don't even feel like mentioning them just because this. So basically, this whole first part ends with Rooney Mara and Bradley Cooper leaving the circus, and we cut.
They elope.
They elope and they leave the circus. So we smash cut to 2 years later, and they're doing like their own separate act, and this is when the movie is a completely different movie in my mind.
Yeah.
Like it almost doesn't connect sometimes.
Setting changes. The majority of actors change.
Yeah, none of the actors from the first part basically show up except for one part, and it's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, where they all just have dinner.
Yeah. But basically, Bradley Cooper and Rooney Mara are like really, really fucking famous at this point. Not like super famous, but they're like
They do a successful show.
Yeah, they do quite a few successful shows or whatever. But we meet them when Bradley Cooper does his first like spook show where he convinces a man that his like daughter is there or some shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it obviously pisses off Rooney Mara's character. Rightfully so, but it brings in Cate Blanchett into the movie. Do you want to talk about Cate Blanchett?
Yeah. Oh, are you talking about the judge they do the spook show on?
No, they do that after because they do a spook show first. Remember, he does it with some like random dude.
Yes.
Well, and then he does it to Toni Collette.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so then there's this night they're doing the show where Cate Blanchett shows up, and she basically came to be like, oh, I don't think that you are a real psychic or a real medium. I think you're just pulling tricks and showing verbal cues to each other, meaning like between Stan and Rooney Mara's character.
Which they are.
They are doing that, yeah. And so
they do really good jobs of like explaining how all these tricks work in the movie, but I don't want to go through and explain to you like, oh, Bradley Cooper can actually detail someone because he figures it out by the way they present themselves and like what kind of shoes they wear. That's how they explain it in the movie or whatever.
Yeah, it works. It's really good.
It's really good either way.
Cate Blanchett, Rose said in all caps.
Cate Blanchett. She's
so good.
The thing is that she is really good in the movie, but like I said, when she I'm just saying, when she gets introduced, it feels like she's the only other character. Like they replace literally every character with her. Every other character that's like been introduced, like no other character matters besides her.
Yeah.
And Bradley Cooper at this point, which kind of sucks, because it's just like disconnect even further or whatever. Mm-hmm.
But basically what happens is it's very subtle and it's very good, but what happens is Stan seems a bit offended, of course, that Cate Blanchett would say the show is fake, even though it is fake. And so he really goes out of his way to like use his tricks on her and kind of like embarrass her in front of the audience by being like, oh, you have
well, yeah, he says so. She tries to fool him by asking him herself what's in her purse, right? Mm-hmm. And he can't figure it out because of social cues or whatever, because of the social cues. But he figures out that she has a handgun or whatever, and then makes fun of like the fact that she probably wants to kill herself, right?
Yeah. And like just like saying things like, oh, you have like a daddy issues or whatever, or mommy issues.
Which this movie makes a very good point to point out that almost everybody has an issue with their parents, and that's how like we become so relatable. Mm-hmm. Which is a very good point, because I think almost everybody does have an issue or two with their parents, whether it's forever or it's just a period of time in your life. Mm-hmm. So I really like that the movie makes a point to be like, oh, our main character is very troubled by the fact that his dad was a piece of shit, but it's like, so is everybody else.
Yeah. And I do think that theme plays into the movie where the main character thinks that he is really special, but really everyone else has the same problems as he does.
Yeah.
But anyway, what happens is Cate Blanchett is at the show with someone who is a judge in the city they're working in, and he's like really wealthy and really important.
He's like the most powerful judge in the city or whatever. That's what they say. 1940s.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. And so he does a little what they call like spook show on this guy.
Yeah,
And
so basically, the judge hires him to come into his personal home and do like an exorcism to try to communicate,
not an exorcism, but
Well,
to like
he-
summon his dead son.
so that him and his wife can talk to him. Yeah.
Yes.
Which he goes to do behind his Rooney Mara's back or whatever.
Because Rooney Mara is like, I hate when you do this.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But he does it, and he gives them the false hope where he says stuff like, "Oh, your son says, not to worry because we're going to be together really soon," and stuff like that. Just trying to give them false hope that their son is telling,
like in heaven or something.
Which whatever. Obviously, the idea of him being in heaven isn't the wrong thing. It's that he's giving them the pretense that he's talking through him or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Your tent has a spider infestation.
It has a witch infestation as well, so. But I made this perfectly even too. I'm doing pretty good.
But the new plot we have now, which is where Brant's problems start to come in, and I was not a big fan of this, but it's interesting, is that Stan and Kate Blanchett's character, and guys, her name is Lilith, okay?
What
But
is that supposed to imply?
Lilith is like the most famous like female demon
Oh.
in
Is that actually the parallel he was trying to draw?
well,
there's
if
not- there's
any
no-
woman is named Lilith in a movie, you know what's going on.
Not true. The Borderlands movie's coming out, and the main character's name is Lilith.
Oh
Wrong.
my god. Yeah, shut up, dude. Anyhow, but yeah, so
Well, okay, so basically, Bradley Cooper starts picking up more jobs where he's doing the quote-unquote spook show, where he's going and he's talking to these famous judges and stuff and installing false hope. And what this eventually leads to is that the most powerful man, what's his name?
Elias? Or no. Ezra, right?
Yeah, Ezra, who's played by Ezra Grindle, who's played by Richard Jenkins, he was in he's like the dad in Step Brothers, which is funny because the mom in Step Brothers is also an actor in this movie that I pointed out to Akasha, but he's also in other Guillermo del Toro movies. He's a very good actor. Lilith, like Satan's wife kind of vibe. It's a kick-ass name. It is a kick-ass name. What?
It is a good name.
Ezra Grindle? I agree.
Well, Lilith is also a cool name.
Well, no, that is a cool name. I agree.
Yeah. Friend's cat's named Lilith.
But it basically equates in that this guy he's like the most famous man in this city, but he's so elusive because he's just fucking depressed
And kind of crazy.
and kind of crazy or whatever because he
Yeah.
lost his daughter,
His wife.
his wife.
Yeah, that was his wife, right?
No, that's his daughter.
Oh, it's his daughter? I was confused the whole movie.
You thought that it was his wife? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's his daughter. So his daughter died, and so I believe so did his youngest son, but I don't know why he doesn't care about that. But
No, it's that she miscarried.
oh, okay.
Or not miscarried, but he forced her to abort the baby.
Oh, okay. I guess that's the part of the movie that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've got a clear understanding that Ezra's daughter is dead, and he forced her to abort the baby.
And she's dead because of the abortion.
Yes. But so he's basically just a fucking miserable wreck, and he won't see anyone. But now he wants to see Bradley Cooper because he believes that Bradley Cooper's character can finally make him see his daughter and overcome his guilt or whatever.
Yeah, he cautiously believes that he's a real medium.
Yeah. There's a really good scene. If you've seen the trailer, for some reason they spoil like the whole fucking scene in the trailer, but there's a really cool scene where they do like a lie detector test where Bradley Cooper uses his fucking power to like escape out of like a lie detector test. It's really clever. I gotta say, like, all of the set pieces, like, even while they're not, like, especially with the first part, how they feel so separated. Like, we didn't mention, like, earlier in the movie, the first geek that's, like, introduced fucking dies because Bradley Cooper accidentally kills him, and it's like, oh, no one really cares because he doesn't, like, no one cares about the geek or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just a really good, like, scene between, like, Willem Dafoe telling Bradley Cooper, like, how he enlists him. It's just, there's a lot of really good scenes in the movie, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Between, like, different characters and stuff like that. It just sucks that I don't feel like I have to talk about them as much with the first part.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the further we go along, Ezra's like, they keep having sessions where Ezra's giving fucking Bradley Cooper $10,000 a session.
Yeah.
And basically the goal is that they're gonna make his daughter materialize in front of him, which Bradley Cooper has never done anything like that, obviously, because he can't fucking do that.
And we should mention too, the importance of Cate Blanchett is that she is aiding him in this endeavor.
She's a therapist, and she has, like, she was a therapist for, like, all of these men. So she's the one giving him, like, the information of, like, oh, he has a dead daughter, or he forced her to abort and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's how her character plays in. Plus there's, like, a power dynamic in the sense that Bradley Cooper at this point thinks that he can just, like, read every single person that's ever existed, where he just believes, like, everybody boils down to, like, only wanting to be known and stuff like that. So it's, like, this power dynamic where he constantly is, like, belittling Cate Blanchett, being like, I know who you are. You have doing, like, the thing earlier where he's like, oh, you have mommy issues and stuff like that. But he does that to, like, everyone as well around him.
Mm-hmm.
A therapist in the 40s for men. I don't know. I guess for rich people specifically, maybe. Because it seems like she only does it. It's
very lavish.
Yeah, it's a very, like, lavish place. Like, it's got, like, a...
Also, they don't call her a therapist. She's, they say psychiatrist. So I don't know if, like, therapist is a more modern term, but...
Oh, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
But it comes down to Ezra's fucking threatening Bradley Cooper that if he does not make her materialize in the next fucking meeting, he's going to kill him.
Yeah, basically, that's what he implies.
Well, no, because he said that they've already tried to find people to do this. He, like, implies that he's already killed a bunch of people trying to do this.
He implies a lot of things he's done.
Well, yeah, that's later, though.
Yeah.
Rose says, I think that they have a slightly different meaning, but that would make sense. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it comes down to Bradley Cooper basically has to ask Rooney Mara to disguise as the dead daughter and make it like a whole show for Ezra to, you know, the plan is that Bradley Cooper's gonna make him sit down and pray, and she's gonna disappear until the night or whatever, right? That's the plan.
Yeah.
Is she's gonna materialize, Ezra will close his eyes, and then she'll be gone. And it'll all be over. Obviously, we all fucking know that that's not gonna happen. Basically what happens is she materializes, and Ezra, like... before... We should talk about what he admits before she materializes. He admits that he's a fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's so elusive, is he admits that ever since his daughter died, he has been killing random women he finds on the street.
Yeah, and implying also something else I don't want to say on Twitch.
Yeah, you get the implication.
Yeah.
We need some lights in that tent. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, he implies that he's just a serial mass killer / assaulter. And, you know, as soon as she shows up, he fucking freaks out, and he rushes towards her. And Bradley Cooper, it's not even like, I'm glad that it's not this thing where, like, he's tricked by it for, like, even a second. He's tricked by it for like 1 second, and he just gets a good look at her, and he's like, I really think Richard Jenkins did like a really good job in this movie. He's like, you motherfucker. He's like fucking sobbing his eyes out.
Yeah.
And it's just really scary. It's scary because you don't care about Bradley Cooper because he's a piece of shit, and you already know this. Because he's murdered. He constantly lies. We didn't talk about it, but he cheated on Rooney Mara with Cate Blanchett earlier in the movie. But yeah, real JoJo villain moment right there. But yeah, but the reason it's tense is because well, I mean, we haven't said her name, but Rooney Mara's character's name is Molly, but because Molly's there and we're like, holy shit, he's gonna fucking murder her. But Bradley Cooper just fucking murders Ezra in like the most brutal fucking way I could like the most brutally like possible way.
Look, here's the freak show.
Yeah, this is okay, real quick, this is Ron Perlman. And this is Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
That's this is the sergeant guy, so the little short guy, and this is Rooney Mara. And that's Bradley Cooper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there 2 skeletons in here, or no? There's only one. The skeleton.
No. The other skeleton walked out.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Well, he fucking died, I guess.
Okay.
And
those sheep are Pete and Xena.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
See?
Well, wait, hold on. Which one's Pete?
That one's Pete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pete.
This is what happens to Pete.
This is what Bradley Cooper does to Pete. Anyway, so
yeah, Bradley Cooper brutally murders a man.
Yeah, he fucking punches. I just want to describe it. He punches his nose in, and it's fucking in. It's like the only. This is like the only instance of violence in like the whole movie. Bradley Cooper also gets shot in the hand, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
Because there's like a really good shot where he's like running away and he like lashes his arm out to grab the door and you can see the bullet like it looks like it misses, but his fucking hand reacts so it seems like he got shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kills Ezra and his body. We didn't discuss Ezra's bodyguard, but he's kind of important. He is like the guy who's constantly telling Bradley Cooper he knows he's full of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, also we didn't mention that the judge from earlier and his wife, they fucking commit a murder-suicide because of what Bradley Cooper tells them.
Yeah, the wife kills her husband and then kills herself because...
It's a very shocking scene. It's like, it fucking scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, because Stan had told them earlier that they would be with their son soon. And it's like, it's the fruition of what everybody has been telling them. Like, it's not a good thing to do this to people.
To give them false hope, because then they take your words and they mix them and stuff like that.
Because he keeps rationalizing it and being like, oh, well, it makes them happier.
Yeah. But it literally ends in 2 people being fucking killed, and he murders another man, and literally the bodyguard chases them, and he runs him over with their car, fucking twice. But anyway, they escape, and Molly, after this, he makes fucking Bradley Cooper parks the car, and she just leaves the movie, which rightfully so.
Yeah.
She just fucking leaves his ass. And goes away forever. But...
and he goes, I don't need you!
I don't need you! But yeah, so he goes to Cate Blanchett because he's been hiding... We didn't talk about this either, but he's been hiding money there. But he's just going there to get money or whatever. But it's revealed that Cate Blanchett stole all the money.
Which he was, because he thinks he can read people so easily, he thought 100% that she would not steal his money.
Yeah, there's literally a discussion between them earlier where she's like, why don't you think I'll steal it? And he's like the sly motherfucker that he thinks he is or whatever.
Yeah.
But she steals all of his money and she fucking shoots him. In the ear. I don't know if she meant to shoot him in the head. It's a little weird that she doesn't like double tap him if she does mean to kill him. I don't know.
I think her plan because I think she wants him caught alive. Because she starts recording with like her psychiatrist equipment and framing it like he is a loony man when he's trying to describe their plot and being like, these things never happened, we were not in together, and he just framing it like he is an insane motherfucker who is attacking her.
Yeah, I mean, which he technically is, though, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's also we haven't mentioned this. There's also a lot of really cool. I don't know. I do like that Guillermo. Out of all of the things that he talks about in this movie, I feel like the only thing that has a lot of closure is the discussion of parenthood and the idea of being fearful of your parents,
Mm-hmm.
and also being fearful of not just them but becoming them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a slow transition where Bradley Cooper just clearly becomes not even his dad, but worse, he becomes the monster of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, is even proved more because he's fucking, like, disfigured by the end of it, because he's got, like, a fucking fucked up ear and stuff like it.
Yeah.
But basically, after the altercation with Cate Blanchett, he escapes. The cops are now after him, and he's now just on...
Because Cate Blanchett called them.
Yeah.
While he was attacking her.
Yeah, but he's now just on the run from the cops,
Mm-hmm.
and he has no one left, and we smash cut to, I'm assuming what's probably like a couple months, if not like a year later.
I think they say 6 months later.
6 months later? Is that what they say?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but we catch up with Bradley Cooper, and he's a hobo now. He's a drifter. He has no money left, and he's just in a commune of homeless people. But it ends where...
Probably wouldn't call that a commune. A community of homeless people.
Or is commune the wrong word?
Yeah, commune is something different with different implications.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay. I don't mean to say anything. I meant like a community.
No, you didn't say anything horrible. Just slightly off definition.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Anyway.
He's homeless.
Yeah, anyway, as they're, like, the homeless people are burning papers, he catches a newspaper article that another circus has blown into town. So obviously, being the character that he is, he goes there being like, oh, well, I have this fucking great show or whatever.
Where I can read minds.
And the guy who now runs the circus or whatever, because it's the same circus, but it's no longer run by Willem Dafoe anymore. But the guy's like, I don't want to fucking hire any homeless people. So he kicks like...
He says, I don't want to hire drunks.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
But he swiftly kicks him out, but before he does, he invites him back for another shot, and offers him a job. I don't know. Can you describe the scene better, I guess?
Yeah, it's just... I'm just gonna say it. It's just a parallel of the conversation he had with Willem Dafoe about the geek, and it's them acting out the scene in real life, where the circus manager is like reeling him in like, oh, I guess I could give you a job.
Where he's already given him a shot, which is clearly drugged with opium.
Yeah.
Because he does not... The circus manager does not drink it, but Bradley Cooper fucking slurps it up.
Yeah.
And it just ends with the movie... I think the ending of the movie is like the best part, where he asks Bradley Cooper, do you think you're, fit for the job? And Bradley Cooper just starts bursting out fucking crying. And he
laughing.
And like laughing, and he says, I was born for it. And the movie ends.
Yeah, just saying he got his just desserts.
Yeah. It's a really good movie. I don't know, I think I would have liked it more if it was just...
Tighter?
Tighter. Like it wasn't two halves. Like Caution and I were discussing it not being like, oh, we wrote the movie, but we were just saying like, why couldn't Cate Blanchett's character just show up at the circus that they worked at and then taken them away? Why did we have to have like a smash cut where it feels like so completely separate from everything else that we've been shown so far and
I
stuff
think
like that?
I think part of the problem is something you were saying where you watched a trailer and you thought this was just like a movie based around the circus.
Well, no, I thought it was a movie you thought it was centered around the circus because I thought it was centered around him being like trying to tell the world that he's like a real life like mind reader because the trailer like is so not good. They are not good trailers at all. They do a really bad job at like
of explaining.
And not that I think I don't even like watching trailers. I tried to avoid the trailer for that movie specifically.
But now we go to the movie theater.
Yeah, now we go to the movie theater, and I had to see it when it was there for it was a trailer for No Way Home when we went to go see it. So I had to see that trailer. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just I don't want to say like, oh, the trailer, because it's just the movie also itself just does feel like two separate movies. You know what I mean? But everything else, it's like I said, the cinematography, the way that everyone's acting, story elements in a lot of ways work really well. Like I like the way it ends a lot. I think the way it ends is so good. But again, it feels like two separate stories. Is there?
I think both halves are good.
Yeah, both halves are good, but it's like
there's some cohesiveness missing.
Yeah, it's like make it either a shorter movie and have it just elongate on one of the parts and end in the same way, or blend them together better. I don't know. That was another problem, is I felt like the movie was way too long. Like not like trying to be what's the term? I wasn't trying to be like a dick about
impatient.
Impatient. But I like looked at my went to the bathroom and just looked at my phone to see the time, and I was like, holy fuck, there's still a half hour to this movie. And I don't know. I haven't thought that in a long time about a movie being like, holy shit, how is there this much left to a movie?
Yeah. I for one, I diverge on this a little, where yes, there are unimportant details, but I really liked how slow and plotting it was, and just like the character flavor of a lot of these scenes.
Yeah, I can appreciate. No, I'm not saying I can't appreciate something that's slow though.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I really thought the length was fine.
I think the length just comes into problem because of the issue with the two halves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason I have a problem with it being so long, is because it just doesn't seem like it wants to focus on either half because like I said, they're like both halves literally have almost like the exact same runtime. Because it's like a 2 hour and 20-minute movie, so it's like an hour and 10 at the circus, and then an hour and 10 in like real life world or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And the part about it being based on a 1940s story, I feel like a lot of these problems do come from that, like I was saying before, because I mean, I've read old stuff, and we've obviously watched movies from like the 30s, 40s. The entertainment value is supposed to be a little different in that. I mean, there's similar things today, but characterization didn't matter as much. A lot of it, especially when you're writing a circus story, is supposed to be like really spectacle-y and like you hearing and seeing cool things. And I feel like he was trying to add that sort of flavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I completely understand and respect that, but I feel like at the sacrifice yet again of the story, sometimes there were decisions made that, I don't know, I just wasn't impressed with the story as much as I would have liked to be, because like I said, I really like the stuff he has to say about, you know, parenting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess let's just what would you give Nightmare Alley?
On Letterboxd, I already gave it a 7, so.
Yeah, I gave it a 7 as well, and the more I think about it, I think I'm gonna leave it at a 7, just because I don't know, I don't think it deserves anything, like, for me, anything lower, because it's like, it is just really good, like, acting, and it really depends on the acting, you know what I mean? There's so much dialogue in this movie happening. I guess that's why some of the stuff we just didn't get to talk about was just because there's just a lot of characters just talking about what's going on or who they are and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm. What's the next review going to be? Yeah, okay, so I guess that'll be the wrap up for this review, right? We all
Yeah,
good?
yeah.
Okay, let's go into some talking about next reviews.
And before Brant says anything, I just want to say, I'm sorry that I keep yawning. I'm not bored with the review. I've just had to wake up at 6 in the morning for 2 days straight.
Yeah. She had work today, so it's been a little bit of.
I'm just tired.
But okay, so I'm not going to say a date, but I'm hoping really, because I'm trying to get through it. I'm hoping really, really soon, within maybe like next week, hopefully, we will be able to do our start doing our comic book review of the Amazing Spider-Man comics. Because I'm halfway through what we need to read, and I think Akash is about halfway through what we need to read, right? Yeah, so it's just getting that all done and then having all the notes for that, because I think when we actually get around to doing the review for those comics, those episodes are going to be like really long review-wise.
Oh, alright.
So I think we're just going to need to prepare for that and stuff, but that should be our next one, and I think we were we're not 100%, but we were discussing maybe doing a review for the new Weekend album. I've been listening to it quite a lot, so I think that it would be fine, but that would just be something Akash and I would have to discuss.
Yeah, a little extra add-on thing.
Yeah,
and then more movies coming at some point, because we're planning a series.
Yeah, we're doing it's not super different from Goblin Viewz, but it's a different series itself. So we're working on that, and then I don't know. We also just will have to figure out what we're gonna do for our next Goblin Viewz movie stuff.
Yeah,
because
we're not trying to front load you all. We just have plans, and we're trying to figure them out.
Alan Wake for just the thing. We still would have to get the game. I know you wanna see us fucking play Alan Wake. We will. Yeah. We will.
And I'll be there, Rory. We'll plan for me to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know you've been bugging me about it.
Yeah. We also need to pick back up. We keep saying it. We actually will. The Corpse Party series will be coming back.
Yeah.
Just because it's something we actually enjoy. It's just, I've been starting a new job and stuff like that, so it's been a little bit hectic with the past, 2 weeks of planning and stuff, especially working around now that we're both, working all, I just was doing a lot shorter shifts before this, so Thank you, Rose. I appreciate it for the congrats on the job. I do appreciate that. But yeah, we're just it's more just that we've been working on scheduling as of right now. So that's
and I've just been working, baby.
All right, yeah, but
and that's where we end it.
All right, so yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to our review. I'm gonna send you off nowhere because no one's live. But you guys all have a good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.